Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast. I am Nick McDaniel, and as always, I'm joined by my buddy Myron.
Yes, and I'm wearing my thinking cap tonight. Ready to talk to you about wrestling, people.
Is that what you're calling that, as a thinking cap?
Yes. Yes.
It looks like a do-rag.
It's not. It's not a do-rag. It's one of the high technology things people wear when they're exercising to wick moisture away and keep warmth in.
It's what the athletes wear under their helmets.
It's what the athletes wear under their helmets.
And nothing screams athlete more
than me.
Exactly.
Yes. I'm working on a deal with Under Armour right now. I don't know what for.
You are a chiseled specimen.
Yes. I am probably one of the most advanced physiques in sports entertainment watching today. Not in sports entertainment, but in sports entertainment watching.
There you go. And I did joke. I said, "What is that hat? That T Puffy? Yes. That's your new. We're gonna start calling you that or something."
Yeah. No. See, look. Let me just model it.
Yeah. I mean, I get it, man. I
might order some more. You know, if we could get one with some good embroidery with our logo.
Oh, we should get. Yeah, we should get that. Where the nice lady making our shirts. Ask her if she can make us some of those.
Yes.
With tapped out across it. That would be awesome.
Yes.
Here's the funny thing. If you're listening to the podcast, you have no idea what we're talking about.
I'm wearing an exercise hat of some kind. One of those things, like it's a beanie, but it's also like, it's stretch, but it's one size fits all. So
it's a stretch material. Kind of looks like a do-rag. Yeah. Like you said, it's what the athletes, like the football players, wear under their helmets.
Yeah.
They could probably put it 2 and 2 together, I'm sure.
But I got it for $5 on Amazon. It was one of the deals of the day.
Guys like us that don't have a lot of hair on the top, I mean,
got to keep this thing warm somehow.
I mean, Jay-Z Flair, Hoop. I mean, all of us.
Like when I go to the swimming pool in the summer or something, my head will burn. I mean, my bald spot will absolutely burn like a tomato. So I have to wear something on my head anyway. So why not wear something like this?
I'm with you. Well, hey man, do you want to talk some wrestling, or do you want to do fashion and do rags and stuff up for the whole hour? Let's talk some wrestling.
Probably do that for the whole hour, but I think we people listen to this for wrestling. I've got a show coming out on Bravo about fashion later, but we're working on that. Okay.
There you go. Wrestling fashion.
Yes.
$5 5X shirts from WWEshop.com.
Yes.
The specialty.
Oh yeah.
Shout outs, man. We
I buy everything they put on clearance for less than $10.
Well, it's like you said, the material costs more than $5.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
So yeah. So anyway, well, man, let's do it. Let's get into the wrestling talk. Since last week, I mean, the wrestling world's still abuzz about All Elite Wrestling. I mean, that's kind of about all you can hear about anything on Twitter and on Facebook, pretty much social media in general.
And it's like speculation. Who's going here? Who's going there? This. We'll put this person's name and put the All Elite. We'll put a picture of Vince McMahon and put the All Elite logo under it. Vince is going to All Elite. It's some of the crazy shit I'm reading, man.
And that's kind of some of it. I always tell people I'm not. Maybe I am. For years, I've told myself, I'm like, I am not like a WWE apologist. I'm not a basher of any other. Because, I mean, obviously, I'm not because of all the other promotions I like. And All Elite, I have a feeling, and I tell people this all the time, I'm going to like the product. I'm not knocking the product. I call it like I see it. And this is kind of one of the things. And maybe, my problem isn't All Elite. It's probably the social media in general.
Social media is bad for wrestling. That's just the honest to God truth.
Because all week, social media, and it's from last week, obviously. We knew Jericho signed last week. We discussed it. That wasn't the issue. The issue that I have is just all week long, people saying, Jericho showed WWE he doesn't need WWE, and, I bet Vince is mad, and, just on and on and on. And my comeback to people, let's be realistic. That's horse shit. I mean,
I agree 100%, man. Totally. Because it's a job. Okay? I'm not bashing what they do. They put their lives on the line. They go out there and they work hard and they travel the country. But a lot like a sports guy, like a baseball player, that's your favorite baseball player, but he gets traded to an opposing team because they offered him more money in free agency.
I'll ask you this one, Myron, because it's current events relevancy. Kyler Murray from Oklahoma just, he declared for the NFL draft.
Yes.
The Oakland A's have already offered him he's getting $4.6 million, I believe.
As a baseball
player.
Right.
He's decided, I'm going to declare for the draft. Okay. Short term, he'll make more money in football. Because if he's a first round pick for number 1 through 15, he'll probably get somewhere between 10 to 20 million guaranteed. Somewhere. I'm just estimating. If he goes up with the baseball, obviously he's getting the 4.6 per whatever. However, if you make it long term in baseball, you make more money because the contracts are bigger later.
Also, you can
and
play
longer
for much longer,
much
without
longer,
hurting yourself. I mean, he's a quarterback,
right?
And quarterbacks, outside of a few, have shorter lifespans,
right? Here's the tie into wrestling. It wasn't disrespectful that he declared for the draft. Even if he goes and plays football, it wasn't disrespectful to the A's. He had a financially an opportunity that he couldn't pass up. Because guess what, folks? He can go play that couple years, realize, you know what, I really suck. Take that 10 or 15 guaranteed, go play baseball. And give baseball a shot in 2 years or something. So anyway, the relevance was back to Jericho. Vince knew. This was not a shot. And so I don't know if you caught this interview where he did with somebody, and I feel horrible that I had it written down and I lost that paper. There was a guy he did an interview with in the back of a car. And I'm only taking from what he said, and I'm going to turn that into what I inferred from what he said. If I'm incorrect, Chris Jericho can call me and tell me I was incorrect. I'm just inferring that this is what I heard.
He'll text message you tomorrow.
Yeah, he'll text message me and tell me. He said it was the biggest of money in his career. So there's that. Mm-hmm. He was negotiating with WWE. He clearly said that he was working, to try to go back. So guess what, folks? He clearly wanted to go back.
Yeah.
Because guess what? If he knew AEW was paying his biggest money of his career, Vince probably wasn't paying him that. So it wasn't about money, because if he was already negotiating with him anyway, he was interested. So it wasn't like he wasn't interested at all.
Well, he didn't have a contract with anybody. He was a total free agent.
Exactly.
He went basically to a job fair like anyone else that is a job seeker. He talked to people who had worked with in the past. He talked to other people. He got all their offers together, looked at it, and made the best decision for him and his family.
And, clearly he was interested. He discussed creative, that seemed to be an issue. He himself said, Vince, the creative couldn't be worked out. He made some comment about the list, and he didn't want to go backwards and stuff. So my inference from that is, did Vince want him to do the list?
That's what I took it as.
I mean, it made sense. So in that video, in that interview, like I said, if it was creative, it didn't sound like he was crapping on it. It was just, hey, it just didn't work for right now. They're offering me the best money I've ever made in my career. I'm going to take the money. If creative ain't there for what I want to do, I'm going to take the money.
Well, he's at a position where he can do what he wants to do.
Right.
He can say, like, I can make a decision based on what I want to do. And if I don't want to do this, I don't want to have to take the money. I wish I was in a spot where I could say, hey, I don't want to work on this X at work. And if you're going to make me do this, I'm going to go work for somebody else. I think it's great, man. He's in a great position. He's one of the greatest of all times. Love Chris Jericho. He made the right decision for himself and his family and his happiness. And he's going to work less dates. Okay. He's going to make more money. He's going to work less dates. He's going to be able to tour Foz. He's going to be able to work in Japan.
And do his cruise. And do his cruise.
Also things he wasn't going to get to do.
Right.
And I guarantee he'll have all the All Elite people on his cruise too.
It would make sense that they're going to all be. I was going to say they're all going to be all in, right? Okay.
Bingo.
I mean, but that's the flip side of it. That's if we're going to head into that whole conversation, it flows right into the whole Kenny Omega situation.
Yes.
Everybody says, oh, he doesn't need WWE. He's okay. First of all, first and foremost, I'm going to start my first comment. Kenny Omega is going to All Elite Wrestling. Period.
Of course. Definitely.
All right. It's not. It goes. It's it is what it is, right? We're not saying anything other than the fact. I think that's where he's going.
I mean, I don't know for sure, but I would wager it'd be, if I had money to lay down on this, I would say he was going to go where he's going to be a big fish and he's going to be work with his buddies and get plenty of money, because it's not like the cons aren't putting all their money behind this, but they're putting a substantial portion behind it, so that you're probably going to make more than Vince would pay, because Vince is a businessman who knows how the model works. So you're going to make more money with con. You're going to be a bigger fish in a smaller pond. You're not going to get stuck. You know, they say he got stuck in NXT, or he's way down and bogged in. There's too many people. I can't get him on television.
Well, that's going to be a topic we're going to touch on later, right? But
yeah, he's not going to get caught in the system at AEW. He's going to be a main event guy.
Well, I mean, the biggest thing that, is everybody says, oh, he doesn't need WWE, and but my thing is, nobody needs anybody in wrestling right now. Vince is always, the last decade, has made the brand bigger than anybody. John Cena was a threat. It was a threat to that, I guess you could say. But overall, I still say the brand was bigger, because the brand just keeps rolling. And we'll get into the rating stuff later. I know everybody likes to throw that out there, but I mean,
that's one thing. You keep paying Cena, but you don't work him.
Well,
because you know the exposure, you know what he needs.
But what I'm saying though is, like, Vince isn't going to overpay for a guy. He's going to be, this is what the market, and I guess you could argue that maybe he does overpay, but I relatively don't think it is. And for everybody saying that Kenny doesn't need WWE doesn't need him, the reason why I say that is because, as successful as he is, he's not a crossover star. I hate to say that.
No,
Cody is.
It's very simple.
Jericho very much so is. And
we should do a man on the street, like one of those polls, where if you ask people and you give them a list of wrestlers, have you heard of this person? And Hulk Hogan would be number one. Jericho would be up in there.
Take pictures.
He'd be kind of showing pictures. He'd kind of be the guy that was on the cutting, like the edge of Mark and casual fan.
But with him with Dancing the Stars and Fozzy and all
Omega would be on the bottom end. Nobody knows who he is.
What's my saying, Myron? The wrestling bubble is smaller than people think that are inside the bubble, and it's bigger than people outside the bubble think.
Exactly.
That's a shirt. That's got to be a shirt at some point, I think.
Yeah.
Hey, if you were getting a shirt, where would you get one from?
I would go where All Elite goes. ProWrestlingTees.com/Tapped Out Podcast.
Yep. Oh, just go on there and search out Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast Network in the search bar. You'll find it. There's 3 shirts there right now. It's our original tee, our Tapped Out, I Tapped That tee, and the Women in Wrestling is one of my favorites.
Those guys make a high quality shirt that's going to last you a long time. And I put a lot of stress on my clothes between me being big and me falling and catching stuff and washing badly, and those t-shirts just stand up, man. I can't give you enough of an endorsement of how much I love the Pro Wrestling t-shirts.
I agree. So you should get one, and like you said, while you're there, because you could always order a couple All Elite Wrestling shirts and then throw in a Tapped Out one along the ride.
Yeah, get ourselves right up there with the All Elite people. I mean, we're not
quite
far off from them right now.
So back to the Omega thing before we wrap up is pretty much like you said. I mean, I guess the concept that I'm trying to get at people is, just because the WWE doesn't sign you, or just because you don't sign with the WWE, it's really not a knock either way. It doesn't have to be. Maybe the fit just isn't there. Kenny, I mean, and I'm saying it. Look, if somebody could tell me you could go work somewhere with all your buddies, you could make a ton of money, more money than you could make anywhere, creative, and I don't mean creative control, but in a real life job, but you know what I'm saying, freedoms, the schedule kind of thing that you want, all that kind of stuff. Man, come on, what are you going to do?
You'd be crazy not to take it.
Yeah, I mean, and WWE, on the other side of the fence, is the largest company, in the world. If he did sign with them, I get it too.
Well, we had this conversation a while back that if you really wanted to retire in professional wrestling, you had to sign with WWE. But that paradigm has shifted now.
Absolutely.
Because AEW is offering just bucket loads of money, and if you're smart, you can, wrestle 30 days a year or 30 dates a year and retire like a baseball player or something. I mean, it's different now,
The
and it
whole
changed
model.
overnight.
Yeah, the whole model is completely different, and that's kind of where I'm getting at. Is we're heading into a conversation of the third part of this internet craziness is everybody talking about all these WWE wrestlers are considering getting out when their contracts are up, going and working for All Elite. My response is you better be thinking about it.
Oh
I mean,
God, yeah.
if they're throwing around the kind of money that they're talking, that we're hearing they're throwing around, you'd be an idiot not to. It's again
Yeah.
not a knock on AE, not against WWE, all the above. People just if the money's there and it's an
Yeah.
opportunity you can't pass up, take the friggin' money.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, when my market for my job was good, I used to interview with competitors all the time to find out where I was at and where if I was getting paid fairly or if there was something more lucrative available. That's just taking care of yourself. AEW might have actually shifted the whole market forever. Might have made it where there's going to be an alternative to the WE payroll, and it's going to have to be something people think about, and that's a bigger economic impact than just about anything else. It's much more of an impact based on than what they sell or their T-shirt volume or the number of downloads or buys on pay-per-views. If they change the business model and they go in and give people insurance and they do all the stuff they're saying they're doing, it's going to throw everything for a loop, and wrestling's going to change in some fashion.
And God bless them. I hope they
Amen.
do. I really do. I mean, and it's like I said, just everything doesn't have to be a knock on one company and another, just because you're making a good business decision for you personally.
I would love to be sitting here in a year talking about how everybody is more successful than they've ever been before.
Eh,
And we're at that point right now.
So much so we've got people that are not happy in their contracts.
Yes.
Yeah, why don't
Oh,
you
yeah.
lead off on that one a little bit?
The rumor is, and Ivelisse is now coming out in public and saying it, that she signed with Lucha Underground and they told her they'd let her go after the 4th season if she wasn't happy. And they haven't. And the market's really good, but she can't go anywhere. And there's a big holdup between the 5th and the 5th season because all the parties involved can't make a budget that they can agree on. Blah, blah, blah. The Netflix deal isn't there anymore. And you've got somebody that's tied up. Is she still drawing money? I don't know how that works. I don't know if she's paid by dates or what. Shane Strickland was in a similar contract with Lucha Underground, and he was able to get out and is now a free agent. Is she somebody they want to keep pegged down where they can't let her go?
And then the crazy thing is some fans came back at her because that's what we have to do, right? We have to complain, and we have to say, well, Impact and WWE and Ring of Honor, and they hold people hostage in their contracts too. And to her credit, she came back and said, apples and oranges, man. She's like, it's they're wrestling promotions. This is a TV show. She was bluntly like, this is just a TV show.
Exactly. Now she signed a contract, so that's one of those things where it's like, if you get married, you got to get divorced. You can't just say,
Yeah, but come on, let's be honest, man. Okay, I'll give you an example. So you sign up for a TV show.
Yeah.
To get a job as a on a TV show, and they tell you we signed you for 10 seasons, but you get to season 7, and they go, we have no idea when we're going to do season 7.
But are they still going to pay me? That would be the
here's the thing.
point.
But they may agree to that. There's got to be a window at some point where you're like, look, you're going to have to shoot season 7 or you're going to let me go. Because if you think about it, if you made it big, and now the market's booming, and everybody's telling you, hey man, we'll pay you $15 million a season or whatever. I don't know what I don't know what actors make. I don't keep up with that anymore. And they're only paying you $2 million, and they're going to go like, no, you got to sit and wait on us. Wouldn't you be pissed?
I'd be pissed too, and I think the right thing to do is let her explore the market.
If you couldn't because my thing is if they said, hey, go ahead and shoot this, or go do work over here. We're going to start season 5 in 8 months. And then we're going to need you for 8 weeks to shoot or whatever, you know what I mean? And so we're going to need you to keep that 8 weeks once we give you notice and say, or 8 months, we need 8 weeks. Okay, at least you can plan on it. But let me go work for Ring of Honor or Impact or AEW or, you know, MLW for crying out loud, right? Somebody just, you know, even to the point like Joey Ryan came out to her defense because I guess he was kind of in a, you know, similar So, I mean, I don't know.
I think the thing with Lucha Underground is every day they go without shooting season 5 is a day they get farther away from it ever happening.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
It's their heat's dropped, their interest is dropped. If you can't keep that stuff on Netflix and keep it out there, it's going to be hard to do. People lose memory. People forget stuff if you don't keep it out there in front of them. So I don't have good feelings about that show continuing, just to be honest with you.
Not at this point. I mean, I think kind of they lost all the steam. Let's be blunt. They just lost the steam, and we hoped it worked. But then, of course, that was back when we thought it was a wrestling promotion, just not a TV show they were shooting, and it was a totally different model. And I'm just like, look, if Conan bailed on it, he probably realizes the inks on or the whatever the old saying is. But you know, there's a promotion that's out here right now, and guess what? It is not doing.
What's that?
It is not losing steam. MLW is on fire.
Love it.
I'm gonna give you some statistics, man, for this. This was insane in my opinion. For a first-year startup company, you know, right out of the gate in 2018, they only ran 13 shows last year.
Yeah.
They didn't. They averaged for the whole year 717 fans per show, which is cool. I mean, it was, like I said, because of the environment they're in. By the way, Court Bauer said their VIP section doesn't count. Like the complimentary tickets, they don't count. So they're talking paid, 717. And let's be blunt, in indie wrestling especially, and in a lot of areas, everybody counts. Security counts, like the concession person counts. So to say 717 and it's, not. But to me, the most interesting statistic that I saw for them is in the second half of the year, they averaged over 1,000. It was 1,008.
Yeah.
Ring of Honor only averages 964.
Yeah.
So MLW is on pace, average attendance, with Ring of Honor,
and possibly to be bigger because their shows are. That YouTube thing they do is dynamic, man. That's another. I've seen anywhere from 40 to 80,000 viewers on their YouTube show.
Well, they have like 46,000 subscribers, I think, on YouTube. So those aren't people that just kind of watch it whenever. Like they're subscribed. Like they're making it a point to catch it every week.
That gives you the ability to do crossover ads between the BN network and YouTube, and like specifically put stuff on YouTube for people to see. It's a good model.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good model, and they do real well. And they do a very well produced show. And when you consider if you're drawing 1,000 people paying $20 a head minimum, that's $20,000. Your payroll is probably at a show like that 3 to 4, maybe 5,000.
That would be interesting to know. That'd be interesting to know. Yeah.
When you look at it, somebody's doing Court Bauer's doing a good bit of money off those shows. Yeah, if you run 13 shows a year, what do you say? 11 shows, 13 shows?
13 shows is what they ran.
And you're clearing $2,000 to $5,000 a show. That's really good money.
Yeah, I'd really love to know the business, and I don't know what they're clearing, and I don't know, but my thing is, man, Court has done a phenomenal job with MLW. Kudos, Court Bauer. That's all I'm going to say.
Kudos with your podcast and everything.
Oh, he's always done great. I've been a fan of their network forever.
Yeah.
Lots of great shows on there. But man, he's done a great job with him. When they ran that one show coming back, and then they kind of kept going, and I was like, yeah. So, and I mean, they've got stars right now. I mean, they're hot. Listen to this. Low-Key's their champion, and I know you're not real big on Low-Key, and I get it. Be blunt, I'm not super into Low-Key either, but I'm not saying he's not a phenomenal athlete.
Yeah, he's a great athlete.
But they've got, Phoenix, Pentagon, Barrington Hughes, Tommy Dreamer, Filthy Tom Lawler, the new Hart Foundation. By the way, Flying Brian Pillman Jr. coming soon to the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast Network with Tapped Out interviews with Lewis.
Thanks, Lewis.
Yeah,
thank you.
Good get.
And I appreciate that.
I'm excited about this one.
Yes.
Joey Ryan's there. I mean, Rich Swann. How about this? Let me tell you. This is going to be a weird opinion. If MJF isn't in MLW, he is not in All Elite Wrestling. I think
No.
the exposure he got from MLW is
Yes.
what got him the gig.
Yes.
That's just my opinion.
100%.
Dirty Blondes. I mean, old school tag team, and I think that's what I think. They've got Conan there. They've got so many things down there going for them. But I think one of the things that really works for them is the variety of talent they have. That it's a different mix.
Yes.
That it's not.
Yes.
There's one knock, and again, because we're fair, one knock on the WWE is especially for the longest time, everybody kind of looked the same.
Yeah, and MLW reminds me of old-fashioned studio wrestling. It's a small, intimate venue typically, and it makes you feel like you're there. It's a very warm feeling. I like it. That's what I grew up watching on television as a kid.
And what's cool about it doesn't hurt that Tony Schiavone's calling it, right? So it gives it that feel.
No, also, yeah, and Tony Schiavone calls it. Tony Schiavone does a pro show with Conrad. Conrad is in AEW. Contacts. The wrestling business is a big business that's very small at the same time, where everybody knows each other. So it's good for everybody when something like this succeeds.
Yeah, I mean, we just like everything to be successful. And the great thing about this model, there's more than one way to be successful.
Yes.
The MLW way seems to be working. And, congratulations to them. I mean, AEW, we hope their model works.
Yes.
WWE model does work.
When you look at what killed Crockett, you look at the fact they expanded too much and tried to do too much and had too many planes and had too many people. You can be, on a percentage-wise, just as profitable as a smaller promotion if your overhead's less. WWE has to make a lot more money to pay all those people that work at Titan Tower.
Yeah. Amongst other things, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but that's, man, that model can go all the way down. And when I mean all the way down, it can go all the way down to the indie levels.
Yes.
So we're going to talk a little bit local Georgia indie wrestling for a second.
Which is amazing right now.
It very much is so.
Christ.
One of the most intriguing projects that we have coming up, and he's going to be furious that I'm plugging this, I think, on the show. He won't care because he promotes anything. What would he care?
Yes.
There's we're talking about how you make things successful, how you make things work in promotion, especially for smaller promotions. You were just talking about it. Mm-hmm. So Gary Lamb, promoter of Southern Hunter Wrestling, and I, we've kind of been going back and forth about we're calling it like a docuseries. Everybody always talks about starting your own promotion, and I'm really excited about, we're going to start recording it pretty soon, about things about how to build, your promotion and kind of like what should you know before you start one.
Yes.
So that's coming soon. So keep an eye out for that. You also, so you don't miss that, you want to subscribe to us on, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, anywhere you find your podcast, that's where you should subscribe. And my favorite one, I'm going to tell you, we're working on something I think it'll be uniquely different with that docuseries. Support us on Patreon. Go to patreon.com/tappedoutpod and check it out and subscribe. Become a paid member, because I think there's going to be something really nice on there that everybody will be interested in, and which is kind of going to lead me into Southern Honor Wrestling this past week.
Yeah.
I'll let you talk about it first, and then kind of get I'll kind of come in after that.
It was hot show, man. It was nuts. Things went crazy at the end. Gary got beat down by the new heel faction, and it was wild. Okay, the new era, the new heel faction, and people lost their shit and started throwing things. And I've never been at a wrestling show that went near a riot before, but I saw a near riot. It was crazy. They had their fans on the edge of their seats, and then when that went down and there was that massive turn, man, those guys, it was a very emotional moment, and it captivated the whole audience, and people lost their crap. They lost their shit, man.
Yeah,
it was great.
Trash cans flying in the ring. I mean, I was just like, whoa. It was a little crazy there for a minute. I agree. And I just deep down, I was so torn in my heart because I'm a big, big, big O'Shea Edwards fan.
Yes.
And obviously Gary, has been great to us. But O'Shea always tells people, stop sleeping on O'Shea. He's going to make an impact. So I'm sorry, Gary, but he did. He made an impact. And but Gary, man, I don't know how he's going to handle this new era. It's a really unique group with Danny, Jordan. I mean, think about it, man. I mean, Danny.
I love it. Yeah, female wrestler of the year.
Yeah. David Ali, who's got, here's the thing. They're never going to be short on something to talk about because David Ali and O'Shea Edwards can talk and talk and talk. But my whole thing to this, that was like the icing on the cake. Because from top to bottom, that card was awesome.
Stack card, and the card for the next show looks even better, to be honest with you.
Gary's, shooting for 500 people at that new show.
I saw his pre-show numbers, his pre-sale numbers right now for the next show.
He's on pace.
They're insane.
Yeah.
Okay, 500 folks. Make it a challenge. Get out there to the show.
If the next show is anything like the last one we saw, think about this. We went into that show with Joe Black and Sean Legacy with just kind of like, I mean, we know Joe Black's really good. We know Sean Legacy's pretty good.
Yeah.
Tore the house down.
Overall, the match quality was amazing at that show.
Oh, and by the way,
match with Owen Knight.
Next show, they've already announced Cody Vance and Austin Theory.
Guys that are going to work somewhere else.
Both of those guys are going somewhere else. Crazy thing is, and then the next match they announced, Ike Cross and AC Mack. Both of those guys are going to end up somewhere else.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Working. So I'm just saying, on and on and on. It's insane the talent that they're running through there and putting on. 500, I don't think it's going to be something that's unattainable. My challenge is to people to get out and see the show because it's that good and you don't want to miss it.
Yes. Get out there and do 500 for them. Get out there and do 500 for Southern Fried too, man. They drew over 400. We went to 2 shows that drew over 400 for an indie promotion in Georgia in the last 2 weeks, and that's insane, man. People are buying tickets like crazy. Southern Fried is hot as hell too, and it's on the other side of Atlanta. Like, split the whole state in half, man. There's some great stuff going on over here. I had Lulu, the head of security for Southern Fried, probably the most entertaining person in pro wrestling today in Georgia. He's a hoot, man. The guy's terrific, funny as hell. Southern Fried's got a show on Saturday. The 19th, 405 Community Court, Monroe, Georgia. Grudges, brawls, and belts. You got a big Phase 1 title match. You got a big match to see if Billy Buck can beat Judas to take on Corey Hollis for the title next time. You got a tag team match.
Corey Hollis is a name that people are saying that should be signed by a All Elite, by the way. I saw it.
Well, after that match Alan Angels had with him last week, I would book Alan Angels for All Elite.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the Southern Fried roster too, there's a lot of guys that could be working at a higher level any time now. Man, look at that 6-man match with JB Intereses versus whatever this new babyface faction they've got with Xander Ramon, Strychnine, and Will Caution. The street fight. And I saw the last time Drew Blood was in a street fight, and that stuff was bad.
Yeah. Another super entertaining card. Like you said, right now, you don't want to say that it's the most sound, stable, company that's been around for 5 years. Yeah. I mean, Southern Fried is running crazy over on the east side of Atlanta. Up in Canton, Southern Honor, ripping it, just tearing it up there. If you're anywhere in the Atlanta, that metro area, make the drive. They don't run the same weekends.
Nope.
You can go up to one.
They don't even run the same night if they ran the same weekend.
Right. You could go on a Friday and a Saturday, catch them both. They're both tearing it up.
I'm gonna challenge you, wrestling fans. Let's put 500 people in the Boys and Girls Club in Monroe for Southern Fried. We can do this. It's going to be insane. It's going to be so loud. You're gonna think you're in a rock concert.
And then because we got a month almost to build for the next show. It's February 1st, correct, for Southern Honor?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna raise the challenge even higher. Gary told us 500. I want 6. By the way, their building will hold 600 people.
Yes.
So pack it. I want 600 people in that bank. With the pre-sales he's got going on, man, just pack it out. just go ahead and get all your pre-orders, get your seats in, man. Just because you can go on SouthernHonorWrestling.com and get the tickets.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead and get them now, because man, the good seats are flying.
And that's another thing. Southern Honor, they have that website set up. You can buy the tickets through there. I was talking to some guys at Synergy Wrestling in New Jersey, which is way away from us, but they have a website. They can pre-sell their tickets. And on the 26th, they've got Jazz and Maria Manic for the NWA Women's title. How awesome is that?
Yeah. By the way, Jazz released Tuesday. It's in the, you had a great interview with her.
Yep.
So check that out. Like you said, Apple Podcast.
That is tearing it up, man.
Yeah.
That show right there is going to be one of our best episodes ever. I just know it.
Yeah. With her and, her husband, Rodney Mack, the school they've got opening, and she's the longest reigning NWA women's champion. I mean, it's what, over 800 something days now?
No, actually, there's a few more longer than her, but one of them's name is Moolah, for Christ's sake.
Well, okay, let's, in a modern area, let's put it that way.
Oh, modern era, yeah. I mean, Moolah held it for like 50 years.
Right.
And that's Moolah, for Christ's sake. She's probably the most influential women's wrestler of all time.
Right. So... But anyway, like we said, man, get out and see your indie show. Definitely, definitely.
You want good entertainment? That's where you go, man.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, man. There was another show this weekend. I don't think you said you caught all of it, did you? Or the NXT UK show?
I did not get to catch all of it because of my work schedule. My stepson watched it, and he just popped the whole time.
The whole situation with the NXT UK, phenomenal. And I'm not just talking about the
Performance Center.
They got their own it's 17,000 square feet performance center.
The first of many international facilities, according to Mr. H.
Yeah, the man with 3 H's. He's mentioned Australia maybe next. But how about this, man? The crazy thing is, Shawn Michaels apparently had asked for a transfer that would allow him to work at the UK NXT Performance Center. I mean,
how insane is it that you're asking for transfers in the wrestling business?
Well,
like a job transfer to another performance center.
You remember the comment you made earlier about retiring in pro wrestling? Okay, folks, this is kind of how this happens. If there's an Australia Performance Center, a UK Performance Center, they're talking someday, a Chinese or an India or Japan or, wherever. Any of these other countries, they're going to need trainers. They're going to need, just people that for promo classes, for ring, for ring work, for scouting. This is what we mean by the potential to be able to retire in wrestling. And it's not about picking and you're disrespecting this promotion or that promotion. Why you would want to work for WWE? Because there's a potential for a career way beyond your time in the ring.
Yes. And I mean, as far as training facilities, think about here in Georgia, we've got what I consider to be the number one wrestling training facility in the whole state, if not the Southeast, with One Fall Wrestling. And they have a complete nutrition program. They have access to the Chip Smith Performance Center. They have training, QT Marshall. We have training with Ray Lloyd. How impressive is that? That's just down the road from us, man.
Yeah, I mean, and they train you to wrestle for TV.
Yes. They
get you ready. They're funneling guys, getting them ready to send down to NXT. But one of the things we talked about was not getting bogged up in the system. You mentioned that earlier about, it would suck if you got signed and you got stuck down in NXT. Well, you know what? Now, maybe not so much. Maybe you go to NXT UK.
Yep.
Maybe it's NXT Australia. Think about this. How many wrestlers would go, hey, Vince, can you send me to NXT Australia so I can go live there for a year?
That was one of the greatest drawing territories ever back in the day, back in the old territory system. And think about it, man. You travel the world. You get to do different things. I mean, look at Zack Ryder. To me, Zack Ryder is the most successful guy on the WWE roster right now. He still gets paid. He doesn't have to work a lot. His girlfriend is Chelsea Green. He blogs and posts pictures of him going all over the place collecting wrestling action figures. Doesn't seem like he's not satisfied with his job. I mean, he's not on television.
And even like I said, my whole point, like I said, was you can move from promotion. It's almost like they're creating their own territory system back in the day, where and how many times have we said maybe it's time that moving to NXT from the main roster isn't a bad thing.
No.
Maybe it's, hey, what?
And there's going to be some of that when they expand.
It's on the network. Don't get me wrong. I totally get it. But what if they said, hey, your character's just not working. We need to repackage you. But we're not going to try it on the main roster. We're going to send you to NXT, or we're going to send you NXT UK, or if there is eventually this Australia promotion.
Or
nobody else is going to see it except the super marks who are watching it online.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
They can work. You can work on it, get the new package worked, and then maybe do that for 6 months to a year, and then go back up to the main roster, or maybe you love it there. I mean, I can think of worse things than, hey, I'm just going to live down in Sydney or Melbourne, Australia, and just work for NXT down there. And then when I'm done wrestling, I'm just going to train down. I'm going to be a trainer if that works for everybody.
Exactly.
I'm just saying. We've got a buddy of ours that went to high school with us.
Huh?
We have a buddy of ours that went to high school with us who lives in Australia. He was home not too long ago. We've known him since like 8th grade. I have. Yeah. I mean, some people know him longer than that. My wife's known him for forever. But, and he's the same thing. You want to move home? Nah, Australia's pretty good.
Yep.
So would he like to come home? Maybe. But, I'm sure every day when he wakes up and he looks out and sees the ocean, it's like, maybe not.
Yeah.
But, for worse places to live, I'm sure. But anyway, NXT UK, man, I mean, it's on a roll.
Yeah, and they got Walter on the NXT UK now. They had Jazzy Gabbert and Kaylee Ray. That Mae Young Classic was a lot more scouting than people realize. The Cruiserweight Classic was a lot more scouting than people realize.
Oh, yeah.
Those are more tryouts. Not that you could win the tournament tryout, that you could work the style that they need. So
yeah, no, but I mean, and then someday maybe, like I said, either you stay where you're at, you're happy, or you move up to Raw. Who, by the way, folks, Raw's not dead.
Nope.
The Raw, the ratings have crept back up because football season's over, folks. There ain't no Monday Night Football, so now they're.
Well, we all assume that if you're a wrestling fan, you watch wrestling every time it comes on TV, and you don't watch anything else.
Well I hate to tell you, folks. Let me tell you something. I can't tell you the number of games this year on Monday night. They were so good that this guy watched the football game instead. And it wasn't a knock on Raw. Raw wasn't great. Don't get me wrong. I'm trying to make excuses like it was. But those football games, they had some really good games this year that I watched instead.
If you know you're not going to win in the ratings, why do your best work?
Well, I'm not condoning that they don't do their best work all the time. That's not okay. But I mean, but to go, everybody had them for dead. They were under 2 million. They were dead. Well, I don't know. This week they did their best rating since September 10th, right about the start of football season.
Yep.
2.7, 22 million was the overall number, up 17%, and the show wasn't bad. We both said that.
Yeah.
Good show. Main evented with Cena, Balor, McIntyre, and Corbin 4-way to see who's going to fight Brock. Whole other issue. Yeah. Clearly, Braun's not ready. He's not ready to come back. That wasn't really the big draw, although the third hour drew 2.6 million.
Yep.
So it still held very strong.
The thing is, not many people are going to know that Braun can't come back because of his arm. They're just going to assume that Vince really put him back and took his title shot.
Hey, on a quick tangent, I'm going to ask you, because, Balor wins, by the way. I'm spoiler alert, like 2 days later or whatever. Finn Balor wins, gets a win over John Cena. John Cena puts him over in the ring afterwards.
Yes.
So he's going to wrestle at the Rumble. He's wrestling Brock. Does he have to be the demon? I mean, he's got to come out as the demon, right?
Yeah, because you got to make it. If you're going to beat Brock, you got to make that shit believable. He's a little guy. They're really going to have to do everything they can to make him believable to go into that match. It's a big deal.
Yeah. So, but that wasn't even the big thing. Here's the crazy thing. The big segment of Raw it turned out not to be necessarily the main event. Everything everybody wants to talk about all day on Tuesday was the Alexa Bliss segment. And I'm not talking about the moment of bliss. I'm talking about the edgy,
Attitude Era
segments, whether people are calling it, where she's kind of got like her top's off and she's holding it, covering herself. First of all,
any side boob, for be honest.
Do what?
It wasn't really even any side boob or anything shown. She was totally covered.
Oh, she was totally covered.
Yeah.
And here's the crazy thing. I thought everybody said they wanted the Attitude Era back.
Yeah, I don't
That's
think
what everybody screamed.
What the Attitude Era was. I think the Attitude Era, people look back at it like they look back at old video games. And you ever sit down and, I mean, retro games are fun sometimes, but they don't hold up. It's like watching Star Wars again in your 40s when you hadn't seen it since you're 10. It's different.
Totally different.
Okay. The Attitude Era was a big time, and people want that success and people want that edginess. But when they did stuff like that in the Attitude Era, it was connected more into the plot. It was better storyline work. Yeah, Vince is back. Vince is a lascivious old bastard. We've known that since I was a child.
Hey, he ain't missing. I hate to tell you, buddy. 2 million people watched that segment on YouTube.
Yes. Oh yeah, he knew what you want. I mean, if you put something on YouTube gets 2 million views, that's money from YouTube too.
Because all the marks told you they were happy that the tag team women's titles were coming, and only 480,000 people watched that segment on YouTube. You do the math, folks.
Yeah.
I get it. The people that are complaining, I don't know who they are, and I get it. Here's the thing. I'll be blunt. I didn't have a problem with it. I don't care, because she wasn't naked. She wasn't. I mean, so she was covered up. I didn't necessarily like the segment. I just didn't care. I didn't have a problem.
I didn't care. I didn't like the segment because it didn't do anything to advance the storyline or anything like that. But here's the thing, man. Sex sells. Let's be honest. That's the way
guys
things
like
work.
that. Yeah.
And you're after a young man demographic, and that's what they're going to do.
And by the way, it won the coveted 18 to whatever demographic for the night. It was number one.
Also, Nick, I don't look to wrestling for my moral judgments and my moral guidance.
Right.
Okay? I mean, if you're looking at Vince McMahon for your moral high ground, you're looking in the wrong place, folks.
I mean, those people hold taut, though. I mentioned it earlier. The women's tag, the belts are coming back.
Yeah, they look great.
And they look phenomenal. Jay-Z, Flair, or Hoop, if you're listening, you guys are the belt guys. Let us know, hey, what are your thoughts on the women's tag titles? I think I like them because they're just different than all the other belts. They're not the same.
I don't like the Pentagon belt or the square, whatever you call that shit. I don't like that belt. I like the old school belts. I think these new belts are like a hybrid between old school
they're flashy.
And new school.
Yeah, they're flashy.
They're flashy, but they're more old looking. They've got the leaves and the stuff. It looks like a championship that you want to hold. Right. That's to me what it is.
Real quick before we move on, because I wanted to ask you about it. Sasha Bailey. I mean, that's the easy pick. They're going to do it in an elimination chamber, which is going to be unique. So
that's going to be nuts, man.
But are they? I mean, that's the easy choice, right? They have to win it, right? Or do you think it's too easy? That's them.
I think it's too easy, and I don't think they're going to do exactly what anybody thinks. I think it would be better off to put it on heels and have baby faces chasing it. The Iconics or what's left of Absolution would make more sense. But where's it going to be defended? Is it going to be a both shows? Or
yes.
Just one show?
They have announced that they will bounce. The champion will bounce from both shows and have to defend it on both.
Okay, then you've got the Riot Squad, which to me is the most coherent faction in women's wrestling today.
Yeah,
I like them a lot.
No, I'm not denying it. So do I. It's a good.
So you've got feuds aplenty set up, folks. It's already ready to go. They just got to put the belts out there and get them. I mean, I can't wait for Elimination. I ain't got to Rumble yet. I'm excited about wrestling. It's WrestleMania season, Nick.
We're in the groove, man.
Every year.
And, every year. And clearly with the Rumble moving on through Chamber and moving on to Mania, there's a storyline that we think is being built. And I was going to ask you just real quick. We're almost out of time. But I did want to ask you.
Desperately out of time.
Almost, man. Ronda Rousey made a comment about Sasha that just cracked me up.
I loved it
because they were talking about the tag belts, and then of course Sasha loves holding up the four fingers for the four horsewomen of WWE. And I'm paraphrasing here, folks. I'm not going to read the quote because it was a little bit longer than this. Basically, she was saying Sasha needs to stop holding up the four fingers because Becky and Charlotte wouldn't piss on her if she was on fire right now, and luckily she's Bailey's her only friend, so she at least has one of them to go after the tag belts with her. And but I think this storyline's coming. We've mentioned it. This is slowly going to build some way, form, or fashion over time. But
eventually,
I think,
yes.
Yeah, and I think we joked about it a couple weeks ago. SummerSlam's probably where we get this because it's the next big one. There's not enough time to get there. Or if they do it by Mania, it's too fast in my opinion.
Yes, I agree. 100%.
So building it to SummerSlam makes more sense. But that's just me. I mean, it's just totally just me. And then last but not least, before we get out of here, man, I did want to ask you, because we are running out of time. Let me ask you a silly question. So PWI releases their Wrestler of the Year, those awards or whatever. The prior mentioned Ronda Rousey, she takes home the Rookie of the Year with at 87% of the votes. Second highest of all time, coming in behind Big Show's record 88% that he got in.
Famer.
Well, in 1996, dude, he was when he came in as a rookie. No, I mean he shot to the main event. Kind of sounds familiar, but I'm going to say this, and with no disrespect to Big Show, I feel like she wrestling wise has way surpassed how fast she got, how good she got so fast.
He was rough there at first.
A little bit, I mean, but that, but hey, it happens. If you don't think she's so far in the game, the reason why I mentioned that she won Rookie of the Year is because she came in second behind Becky for Female Wrestler of the Year. Mm-hmm. Becky got 40%, Ronda got 36%. So as hot as everybody says Becky is, Ronda was 4% behind her.
Ronda had a more sustained quality year. Becky had a hotter latter part of it. I mean, Becky had a hotter but shorter run. But Ronda tied the year up really well, man. WrestleMania one of the not main events, but it was one of the big events at Mania.
Yeah. Well, she came in at Rumble. She debuted at Rumble. Remember, just like an appearance. But I was like, I kind of made the analogy off air when we were talking about it. Ronda is kind of like, and trust me, you'll get where I'm going with this. Everybody's gonna try to jump all over this. It's kind of like the Austin Hogan thing. Becky had a hotter, shorter period, but Ronda had the whole year versus Becky having the end of the year. Mm-hmm. And I get it. You're not wrong with either answer, in my opinion. I'm just saying. And of course, AJ won 46%. Omega was 2nd% for Male Wrestler of the Year. AJ's won it 3 years in a row now. The only other man to do that is this guy called Ric Flair.
Yeah.
So pretty good. Oh, by the way, and he's also most popular wrestler of the year too. AJ is, so that's kind of a given. But what else you got, man? We're gonna wrap up and get out of here before we go over the magic 1 hour mark. I don't like to do that, so
I'm trying to think. I really don't have a lot. Like I said, I'm going to continue to challenge people to get out, put your favorite show over 500 people. It don't matter if it's Southern Fried or Southern Honor or Synergy Wrestling. Get out there. Friday night we got WOW premiering on Access TV. The WOW Superheroes, the women's wrestling show. That's
my challenge to you and Lewis.
Yes.
I want to see more women from Women of Wrestling on the interview shows.
Working on it. Definitely.
I know a friend of the show, Harlow. She's going to be out there.
Kicking ass, man. I'm so proud of you, Harlow.
So hopefully we can get her back on pretty soon and get some more more of the ladies out there on the show. But hey, as we always say, man, if you enjoy the show, make sure you're subscribing. We said it earlier. Make sure you do it again. Obviously, Apple Podcasts, Google Play. Follow us on all the social media at Tapped Out Pod. That's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, all of that stuff. It's all at Tapped Out Pod. My favorite thing to tell people to do is, of course, at patreon.com/Tapped Out Pod. If you're a paid member there, man, you're going to get show prep episodes. You're going to get interviews early. Like Alicia Atoot has been on for almost a week now. I think I put it up on Saturday. Comes out on Thursday. We're going to get really in the habit of putting the interviews over for like a week, maybe longer, exclusively on Patreon, so you can get them early. I know that's one of Hoop's favorite things. He was messaging me the other day about listening to some of the stuff early, and that's my favorite thing, man. Is giving them something, making it worth their while to get in there, even for as little as $1. But man, hey, we got $5, $10, $25, $50 levels. It's all there. Subscribe at your level, what you want, man. You can get a free T-shirt if you sign up for high enough levels. Mm-hmm. All that good stuff. So, and man, you can even be on the show.
Yes.
So if you do certain levels, so go check it out and see what you think. And then of course that's prowrestlingtees.com/Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast.
I hate to say it, but that's like getting on the set of Today in Baseball or whatever the show is they run, baseball or getting on Sports Center.
Yeah.
Get on Sports Center. If I buy, because we're the number 20 wrestling podcast in the world.
That's what they tell us.
So, I mean,
I don't know who they are. No, I'm just kidding. But they tell us.
They're a very reputable group of people.
I agree with you.
And computers, just like the BCS. They trust us, and they should, because we're good people.
We
And
try.
thank you for all our fans. We love you. You don't know how much it means to me. I found so much fulfillment in my later parts of my life here from just meeting people at wrestling shows, and they're like, "I love your show," and I'm like, "Oh my God, you listened?" It still shocks me, and I still pop every time. Thank you, people. I really appreciate that.
I just love getting to know the people. That's it.
Yeah.
That's really it. It's a great way. We met some phenomenal people over time. How else would we hook up with a guy like Gary Lamb, right?
Oh, he's a character.
He's a character. So, but man, hey, we're out of time. So if you ain't got nothing else and I ain't got nothing else, man, what time is it?
It's time to tap out.